Hey y'all, it's Ashley from I Have Plans for You. And if you want to see how I created these cute and easy Halloween doodles using brush pens, then stay tuned. Hey guys, let's get started. So I have a few doodles already sketched out on this page so that I can make sure I'm using the most of the paper wisely as we sketch out all these doodles so I can give you as many as possible. I have these Fudenosuke colors markers by Tombow. These are brush pen markers and they are hard tip. I really like using these for doodles. And I have a few colors that I know I want to use. Remember, I always say that you should pull out just a few colors, and that way your spread or your color scheme will be pretty cohesive. We're going to get started with the jack-o'-lantern first. And as you can see, I'm using the fact that this pen will give me both thick strokes and thin strokes. So I'm pressing down in the spots where there would naturally be a shadow. So on you decide where you want your shadow to be. So if your light source is coming from, in my case, it seems like it's coming from the upper right corner, then the shadows will all be on the lower and left sides of the doodle. And you can see I'm kind of going back for the mouth part there and darkening or thickening up those shadow spots. And so I'm doing that center point for that center part of the pumpkin there. And then I'm using that same motion of the pen to give those shadows in the ridges and creases of the pumpkin. And these are just C curves. And then I'll go to the back and give some little bumps as if you can kind of see the back of the pumpkin a little bit. And then I'm going to pick up this green color for the stem. And these are just simple doodles, so I don't add that many detail lines like I would for a more detailed illustration. But I'm just going back here and thickening up lines where I feel like they need to be thick, just to show that shadow a little more. And that was super easy. That's our pumpkin. Now we're going to take the gray and do our ghost. And you all know that one of my little tricks for making something look white is to use gray. We're making the outline of the ghost, and now I'm going back and adding kind of like the bottom of the sheet for the ghost. And now I'm adding a few detail lines to kind of show the motion of that ghostly sheet and adding a bit of shadow under the bottom where that opening is. Now I'm going to take my black and fill in the eyes. So I wanted to go over them with the gray just to give the outline, and then the actual eyeball, I want it to be black. And I'm leaving a little smidgen of white space there to show kind of like a little sparkle because our ghost is friendly. And that's the ghost. Super quick and easy, right? Now we're going to move over to this potion. And in this potion, we have kind of like a plant that's growing. So it's not really a potion, but it's a plant that we're growing inside of the potion bottle. And so I'm using the gray again because it kind of gives the illusion of something clear. Put the circle in the back, finish off that circle to show the bottom of the bottle. And now I am going in with the brown to make that little topper, the stopper that normally you see in those potion bottles. And I'm going to give this stopper a little bit of shadow and those little kind of like holes that you see in those cork kind of stoppers. Going back in with the gray, I'm drawing the line in front where that stopper goes in. You can kind of see the rim on the front, in front of it. Now we're going to take that same gray and put a few detail lines to show the motion of the bottle and also give the illusion of light. Now I have a gray and I'm just doing these simple leaf shapes. They're kind of pointy ovals coming off of stems. And then I'm going back and shading one side just to give it a little bit of depth and dimension there. And this is just a super easy way to do that. And remember, we're shading the same side of the leaf, either the bottom or the right side. And I thickened up the main stem, and that is our potion bottle. Now, because we don't have much green on this side, then I'm going to do the piece of candy here with the green Tombow as well. I have kind of like a squarey looking oval for the center. And then we make these wiggly shapes on the outside for where the wrapper kind of twists. And then we'll do some shading lines to make it look like those spots where the wrapper is kind of turned in on each other. It gives a little bit of shadow there. And when you twist it, it also creates a shadow on the actual barrel of the candy. So that's what we're doing there. And we're all done with the candy. Next, we're gonna do the spider web. Super easy. Our spider web has 8 lines and they're all going to intersect in the middle. And you just need 8 straight lines at this point. And now to give this some detail and interest, we're gonna make these C-curve shapes that are concave inward, but then we're gonna do that with both black and gray. That way it looks like a little bit of light is hitting in different places on the spider web, and it just gives it a little bit more interest than it all being one color. Kind of looks like there are some pieces of the web, some spots of the web that are a little more transparent than others. And be careful to kind of get those C-curves the same shape so that you don't have some wobbly sides. And just alternate your colors the way that you want to. This might even look kind of nice with a blue if you have blue in your color palette. So a blue and gray and black or blue and black still give that same effect. And now we're going to draw a single line going down to our spider. And we're doing a simple spider with 2 circles and 8 little legs coming off of the spider. So I normally do 2 legs coming from the top circle, which is the head, 2 legs coming forward from the middle, 2 legs going back from the middle, and then 2 legs at the back of the bigger circle that's the body. And we're all done with the spider web. Now we're going to do a cute and simple bat. So I start off with kind of a circular motion and we give our bat some little ears. I'm giving it these cute little eyes because we think of bats as being asleep, but then this one also has a smile, sleeping peacefully. And the wings are C-curves that go out until you get to a point and you connect. Super simple wings here. And then I like to go back in and give it a few kind of like detail marks. We're going to give it kind of like those inner ear parts. I'm putting a few shadows on the eyes, and then just giving some interest and detail to the wings, since this bat is so simple. Now I did go over a little bit on one of the ears, and so I wanted to go try to fix that up, but I used a little bit too much of the black here trying to fix that. So a simple, easy way and a kind of hack to fix things on white paper is to use a white gel pen. I prefer the white jelly roll pens, and I'm just going in and adding white back to those spaces that I don't want to be covered up. Kind of like you're whiting out, but you're using a gel pen with a tip that's easy to fix mistakes with. So now that we're finished with our bat, we're going to move on to Frankenstein, and we'll start with his hair. So I'm starting with the hair, and you see I'm using the pen to my advantage to kind of get those shadowy spots where the hair is closest to the face. And then we can go in and connect the face with this silvery color, with this gray color, to the hair. It's easier to start with the hair when you're doing Frankenstein. And then I'm adding ears, and Frankenstein just has these clunky ears. And then of course we have to add those little screws down at the bottom of his chin. I'm adding this kind of wrinkly forehead, and the eyes are going to fall right under there, like the forehead is kind of hanging over the top of the eyes. A crooked smile and a simple cute nose. We're going to go in and give him some googly eyes with the black marker and put them right next to each other, the eyeballs. And then I'm adding a few stitch marks. I'm going back in and adding just a little detail on the ear there because it looks a little plain to me. And we're done with the Frankenstein. Now I wanted to show you how to add this little simple slime blob. This is a nice little filler that you can add on any spread, any planner or journal spread. You just connect wobbly lines and then add a few droplets as though this slime wall is kind of just falling down the page. I add a few little circles to show like a glisten on the slime. On the smaller blobs, I just add a line or a dot, and we're all done. So I do want to use this yellow in the pack, and I forgot that we have another piece of candy, the candy corn. Comment below if you like candy corn. I actually don't mind it. I will eat it if it's there, but it's not my first choice. So we're starting with the orange that goes on the bottom of the candy corn, and we just have this kind of simple half C shape, and we're going to fill in from the bottom and go to the top. So we're going to connect the yellow portion to the orange that we already have, and then to give the illusion of white, we're just going to go in and trace the top with the gray marker, and that's it for the candy corn. How quick and simple was that? Now I'm going to do this bone. The bone is pretty simple. I like to start out with the two lines that are parallel to each other. And then you just give this wobbly heart shape, this kind of rounded heart shape for the ends. And then you can go in and thicken one side to give it a little bit of shadow and depth. And that's it for the bone. Now I'm going to do a witch's hat. For my hats, I like to start with the buckle because they tend to be straighter. And for this buckle, I want it to be orange and green to keep with the theme of the colors on the page. And so we just fill in the buckle first, and then I put a little diamond on the tip of the hat because I felt like that was kind of a easy shape to give some character to the hat. And then we're going to go in with some wobbly lines to connect to the buckle. So these lines are wobbly because, and they're kind of indented because the witches' hats tend to be kind of crumpled and frumpled. So we're just following some kind of triangular shapes. And then at the bottom, we're going to put the opening for where the head goes. And I like to make that thick because it kind of looks like that thickness is the rim around the bottom of the hat. I'm going to go in and give this some ridges where that hat is kind of crumpling up a little bit. You make it look a little, unkept. And then take the gray and just give it a little bit of shadow under the bottom there because that's where the inside of the hat is. Now let's do our treat bag. So we have a little trick-or-treat bag filled with candy. So we're going to draw sort of a inverted and rounded rectangular shape. Make sure that you give the bottom just a slight curve, and then I'm going in and not filling in the top yet. I'm doing the handles. And for this bag, I have one long handle that goes from one side of the bag to the other. Now I'm going to go in and fill in the top because I didn't want to overlap the handle before it was time. I'm only filling in the front because we're going to have candy fill in the bag and we're not going to see the back part of that top oval. Now I'm going in with the green and just writing trick or treat. And you can write some fun phrase that you think of here, but that's all I had. And now I'm going in with multiple colors and just making these candy shaped doodles. So I'm making a few circles, a few little candies that look like the one we did earlier in this post. I'm doing a few rectangles that kind of look like candy bars, and I'm just doing those in a few different colors to make it look like this bag is full of candy. And you just add them all over. And as you can see, they look like they're sticking up out of the top. So that's why we didn't put the line for the rim around the top in the back. Now I'm just going to add a few little detail lines here. Just to kind of spruce this up a little bit. I'm putting a bit of a shadow on the letters just to give that look of something a little more interesting going on the front of the bag. And to give it a little bit of contrast too. The black against the green is a nice pop. And I'm going to go back with the orange and give some shadow. So it looks like the bag has a little more depth on the bottom and the side there. And then we're going to give a few kind of like stitching lines to the handle. And we're all done. Last but not least, we have the tombstone. And we have kind of like an easy shape, a rounded tombstone. I like to go in and make that slanted line first because I always forget that for the 3D effect of this, the slant has to go upward a little bit instead of just straight out to the side. And so I'm filling out the side of the tombstone to give it a little bit of depth. And we're going to give it the kind of like little plot that it sits in. And I'm making this boxy shape. So it kind of looks 3D, like it's sitting down in something. And I'm using kind of like a hatchy scribble here, just so that the bottom looks different in the shading than those spots that we actually want to be shaded. So the bottom is colored, whereas those parts where I colored in the whole thing, those are supposed to look like shading. And now I'm just going to write a cute little message. I'm writing Halloween was here, but you can write, of course, whatever you want to write on yours. And I'm also going to just draw another one of those little bones at the top of our tombstone, just to add a little more fun. And as you know that I like to do, I like to add a few kind of like action lines to show a little bit more detail. So we're going to go back in and do a few of those. Make sure that your lines go in the direction that the shape is going. So you see in the curvy spots, mine curve, and when it's more straight, they're more straighter lines. Now I'm going to go to the top and just do a fun little doodle style of lettering. I'm going to alternate colors with some Halloween colors and just do orange and green, and just write Halloween doodles at the top so that we know what this page is supposed to be. All right, we're all done. Be sure to let me know in the comments if you like this video, and let me know if there are any other doodles you want to see me teach you how to draw. And be sure to follow me on all other platforms. I'll see you guys later, and don't forget everything else is linked in the description.